So with the release of the new summer update, and whenever there's an update to Wizard101, they put out some new things in the crown shop. The first day that this update went live, I did a video on the Wisteria lore pack because that was like the main thing for me to look at from the crown shop, which they added in. So new lore pack, but there was also something else that they added into the crown shop, and that was the 7 starter bundles, one for every school. And I didn't really pay too much attention to these right in the beginning when this update came out, but I have been looking at them and a lot of people have been talking about them. So I decided to kind of put my own thoughts and opinions together on this in a video. So the starter bundles are basically a gear set for you at a really low level, like I'm talking level 1 to level 10, level 15, something like that. And it just gives you some stat boosts, like some stats so you have something to start off the game. And it gives you some damage on your hat, and the boots give damage. The robes aren't really too great, because you're not going to need fire resist or any resist, because they probably all give resist for each school. Yeah, robes aren't the best. They give you 3% power pip, like okay, that's great. The boots give you a little bit of damage, some accuracy too, but the wands give you damage. Like the wands give you a lot of damage. Just from this fire set right here, you get 18% extra damage from this bundle, which for a person that doesn't have a pet or doesn't have anything starting off, that could be good. I mean, that could be really good. You also get a broomstick, which is 40%. So I could see why this might be viable for some people, but it comes at a price. It comes at a price of 7,500 crowns, which we already talked about that with this toy golem. I did a whole video talking about that and why toy golem not necessarily worth 7,500 crowns, but I feel like if I had to compare the starter bundles to the toy golem, I would rather someone buy a starter bundle for 7,500 than a toy golem for that. But the starter bundles are still pretty expensive. 7,500 is still a lot for someone who's new to the game, because I was looking and these bundles are basically marketed towards people that are just starting out and they don't have any high level wizards, presumably. So you just start and you look in the crown shop and you see these starter bundles and you're like, okay, 7,500 crowns. For someone that probably just bought their first sub, or maybe they don't have a sub and they're on free to play, they probably wouldn't buy a starter bundle. They also, even if they did buy a sub, unless they just really wanted to, spend money on the game and they don't really know that much about the game, they might buy these. So that's kind of what I don't like, is that people that don't know the game much might buy these and then realize later on that, oh, that was probably a bad decision because you don't need all this in order to get to level 10. I've made plenty of free-to-play accounts that have gotten to level 10, and I get through it just fine without having any kind of gear. There's 2 pieces of gear from all these bundles together that I feel like are too powerful for this level, and I mean not too powerful, but just like really good. And one is this fire wand, 10% damage on a fire wand. That is so much. I don't understand why they're making all the fire gear have more damage than the storm gear. Actually, the storm gear combined all together gives more damage than the fire, but the wand gives more. The wand on the fire gives 10%. The wand on the storm gives 9%. So basically for fire wizards, if you bought this gear set, you get your Mount Olympus wand at level 1 instead of level 30, which is where everyone will be able to get a 10% damage wand. So that's kind of crazy. The other thing that's crazy from this is there's basically the robe for ice is universal on the resist. 5% universal resist. So I was thinking about this, and since these bundles aren't school specific, you can be any school and use this, you could use the starter ice robe along with, say, if you're fire. If I was fire and I had, unlimited funds and I was like, okay, I want to be the best there is, or maybe for PvP, you would probably want to get the fire gear along with the ice robe, because 5% universal resist is way better than 10% fire resist. So that's just something that I was thinking about, because that robe is really good for starting off. It's better than the robe that they had in the beginning. Let's just look at robes. It's better than this robe, the Jacket of Withstanding, which was the previous resist robe that you could get at, Actually, this you can only get at level 5, so this you could get earlier than level 5. You can get this at level 1. So I was thinking about that, you know, maybe for PvP, like super early PvP, this kind of makes it really good. This basically makes it like if you pay for this stuff, you're gonna have really good gear. I think the Professor's Horde Pack wand is also 10% damage for fire, because I got that on my other account. So that is something else to note. But basically, to get the best gear in the game right now for like early levels, you have to spend crowns. There's no way you can't spend crowns, which is something that is a little like difficult to like fully like wrap your head around, because there's no way of just like working towards it and getting it. You have to, you know, spend crowns on a pack. But 7,500 crowns, I'd rather spend some crowns on a pack rather than one of these starter bundles anyway, because you could buy Professor's Horde Pack and there's a lot of good gear in this pack, so you have a good chance of getting some good stuff in this for 7,500 crowns rather than buying a starter bundle anyway. But I don't know, for PvP I'm sure people will start using some of this gear from these starter bundles just because it's really good. But this is like really low level PvP, but that does kind of change the game with that, so just something else to think about. So I guess overall, the only people I see really buying these bundles are going to be people that, one, want the look of it. They want the stitch option if they really like a piece of this gear. Two, people that are doing low level PvP. They might buy one of these in order to get like the absolute best stats for that level, which would probably be, well, level 10, I would assume, because there's probably a better robe once you get past that. Which, I don't know why. I mean, some people do PvP at that low level, but... So maybe people that do that. Or, the third option is going to be people that have not really played the game before, and they feel like they need to buy one of these bundles in order to get a good start in the game. When in reality, they don't really need to, because you can get through the game just fine. But these bundles kind of might entice people to want to do that. And it's probably not going to be the best investment for them to do that, but you know, they might do it anyway. So those are the only like real reasons I can see people buying this. I will not be buying a starter bundle. Like, even on my death walkthrough, Tara and I are doing the life and death. I feel like just looking through these stats, the only thing that might be worth it for me is the death wand. The death wand probably could be good, but I'm already using the bolt blade because I'm level 15 at this point. The bolt blade gives me 1 pip. I feel like 1 pip is better than 6% damage. So never mind. Being level, what level are we? We're over level 15. We're like level 17. So this gear is already obsolete. It doesn't matter. So this gear is only good for level 1 to 10, maybe 15. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about getting one of these, because it's only going to be good for the first 10 levels. And guess what? You can get through the first 10 levels even on a free-to-play account very quickly. It won't take you that long. So that's just my thoughts on the new starter bundles and who would benefit the most from buying this. Not too many people, but that's just kind of how I was thinking about it in my head on how these bundles would go. Here's what I really wish for the game. I wish at high levels there was ways to either farm for this gear or earn it. Like somehow there was another type of currency, not gold, because gold's too easy to get, but some kind of way that you could earn these bundles for whatever school you want, and then once you get all the pieces for it, maybe not the broom, you wouldn't need the broom, but once you got all the pieces for it, you could then have it ready for your new character and trade it for free. Just because you have a high level wizard, you work for gear on another character that you're going to make, and then you can trade it over. I mean, if they were to incorporate a system like that, I would hope that the gear would be a little better than this. But I don't know. Kind of like the reasoning for that is World of Warcraft has something like that with their heirlooms. Basically, you work hard to get gear for a new level character that you're going to be creating, and then that new level character is better since you already have a max level and you worked to get that gear. That's kind of what I'm thinking with this, and I hope that at some point they could create something like that, but who knows if they're going to. For now, starter bundles you can only get in the crown shop for 7,500 crowns each, so I don't recommend it. I don't think this is going to be necessary for people unless the few that I mentioned with the stitching or PvP or something like that. But that is going to do it. Let me know what you guys think of the starter bundles. I tried to throw out as many ideas as I had. I hope it made sense. But anyways, that's going to do it for me today. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.